EU.
Right now, and a Fox 17 health alert. The CDC this morning says tick populations are on the rise right now, and a lot of them are carrying diseases. Not what you want to hear if you're planning on spending a lot of time outside this summer, but there are ways to protect yourself. And Fox 17 continuing to take a closer look at this boom reported here in Tennessee. Joining us this morning to give us some perspective, we have Dr. Pye from St. Thomas Health to talk a little bit more about, first of all, what you've seen, and secondly, the risks that exist right now. We were talking during the commercial break about you're kind of like the first line of defense for someone who might have a tick on them or think they have a tick bite. They come to your office.
Right. This is the time of year where a lot of people like to spend time outdoors in their yards and wooded areas, hiking trails. So, and one of the risks that comes with that is getting a tick bite. So we see some folks who come in and say, well, I found this tick on me. How do I remove it? What do I need to worry about? And do I need to be treated? So those are some of the common questions that come up.
So the first question, and this is one that we've even talked about at our house because we've had ticks before, and as I know so many of you have because you've been sharing your stories with us on social media this morning. What is the best way to remove a tick if you can tell that its head has penetrated the skin?
And the technique is actually fairly simple. Some people have used things from Vaseline to kerosene to lit matches, but we actually don't recommend any of those methods, mainly because you can irritate the tick, which can actually potentially increase the secretion of the potentially infectious fluids. So,
really? Okay, so don't irritate the tick if it's already in you. Okay.
Yeah. So what you want to do is just a pair of fine tweezers, grasp the tick, the head and the mouth as close to the skin as possible. Pull, gentle, steady pull, don't twist, don't yank. The aim is that you're trying to remove the intact head and mouth completely. And you don't want to squeeze the belly because, again, you're trying to reduce the risk of transmitting infection. Okay. So afterwards, you wash the skin with soap and water, and you keep an eye out for any development of rash or fever.
At what point would someone have to be referred to a specialist? So say I come to you because you're primary care. If I come to you, I think I've got a tick bite, you say yes. At what point do you send me on to somebody else to have to deal with a bigger problem?
If you've developed some common symptoms, not common, but some of the symptoms that we can usually treat in primary care, such as fever, muscle aches, joint pain, and also if you test positive for Lyme, then that's something that we can treat. It usually requires days to weeks of antibiotics. If you don't respond to treatment, we will refer you to an infectious disease specialist. If you have some other symptoms that are outside of the standard symptoms that we tend to see with Lyme or even Rocky Mountain spotted fever, then we will refer to our infectious disease colleagues for help.
And I do want to go over those symptoms that you mentioned one more time. So things like a rash, a fever, aches in your joints, feeling tired, and some of those might be symptoms for other things, but this is specifically if you believe that you've been bitten by a tick. One more question before I let you go. We were talking about this with Andrew, who's in house. He's survived all of this. Should you save the tick? If you can get it out intact, is there any reason to keep it?
Sometimes it can be helpful because if you have to send it to the lab for analysis. Also, if you can describe the appearance of the tick to your doctor, it tends to be helpful because if it's engorged, we know that it's been attached for a while. Lyme disease actually requires the tick to be attached for at least 36 hours or at least 24 hours before the infection is transmitted. So it does require a longer period of time. So if we know how long the tick's been attached or what it looked like, it tends to help us whether or not you need preventive antibiotics and help us decide on that.
Okay, great information for folks at home watching, and we appreciate your time, Dr. Pye. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Heebie-jeebies right now, gotta admit, you know, makes your skin crawl a little, but such important information, so thank you so much.
When I first